what is the purpose of this? What information does this give us? Huh? No, it's right. Say it again. The x-intercept. So this gives us our x-intercepts. So we need to figure out what our A, B, and C are. So in this equation, what is the A? 2. What's the B? And what's the C? So I'm going to plug these into my quadratic formula. Let's really just say x equals this. So we can get what x is equal, or x-intercepts. So negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 15 squared minus 4 times 2 times 7, all divided by 2 times 2. So what am I doing within the parentheses? Under the square root first. So 15 squared is 225. So negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 225. And then I also like to do this right here. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Times 7 is negative 56. So minus 56. To say what I just did again, I did 15 squared, which was 225. And then I went ahead and multiplied all these numbers. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. So that's why it's minus 56. All divided by what? 4. So we can go ahead and do 225 minus 56. Which will give us 169. So that'd be x equals negative 15 plus or minus the square root of 169, all divided by 4. And then the square root of 169, right, Alexa? Square root, because we're not going to forget that square root sign, is 13. So it'd be x equals negative 15 plus or minus the square root of, not the square root. 13 divided by 4. And now I'm going to go ahead and split this. I don't have any more room. So I'll have negative 15 plus 13 divided by 4. And I'm going to have negative 15 minus 13 divided by 4. Okay. So negative 15 plus 13 is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 4 is negative 0.5 or negative 1/2. Negative 15 minus 13 is negative 28. And negative 28 divided by 4 is negative 7. So my two solutions are x equals negative 0.5 and x equals negative 7. So that's all we did last class. Okay? Yeah. That is a lot. I'm sorry. I meant to say like that's all, like it's like all of that we did last class. That's what I meant to say, how to come out. So in real life?
No, I would just ask like in general, like right, like plural.
Oops, no, don't stop. So what we're doing today is we're going a little deeper into quadratics, okay? So we're going even deeper. Now, I apologize because I did not mean to. I apologize in advance because I did not mean to. I meant to have my ID today and print this out for y'all, but that didn't happen. I left my ID somewhere. All right. People on Zoom, Jaden, can you tell me what you see? Because I'm not sure what you can see right now.
I can see like your screen.
Does it say quadratics and quadratic formula?
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Are you on the notes part?
Hmm.
Are you on the notes part or the practice?
We're on the notes part, yeah. Okay. I need you to take good notes, guys. I cannot express to you how more complicated this can get if you don't understand the foundation. There's just some information that we need to know. We need to know how to factor. We need to know how to find the zeros from our factors and how to find the zeros from the quadratic formula. Those are the three things we need to know at this point. Oh, so what are you doing? What are you doing? The assignment already?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just labeling what we did this last class of the week.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Cool. All right. So I was like, dang, how's she already on the assignment? All right. So our equation for quadratics is in the form of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay.
Hold on, wait.
What?
I think the quadratic.
Okay. The goal is to finish in 10 minutes. We got this.
10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's 2 days.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this is how a quadratic equation is written in standard form. So I'll put this in parentheses. This is standard form. And you're like, wait a minute, are there other forms? Yes, you'll learn them later on though, not today. Every question that's asking about quadratics is usually asking for the x-intercepts. We need to make sure we know all the synonyms for x-intercepts. So it can be asked, what's another word for x-intercepts that we do know?
Zero.
Zeros.
Zero.
Awesome. Awesome.
Wait, I have it.
You go, Jaden. Solutions. And other any
The
other
root?
root. Okay. Yeah, and the roots.
There's something where they just can't never that hard.
Zero. Is there a fourth one?
No, I don't know. I made this a couple years ago, and I feel like I filled in that fourth one. But I don't remember what I filled it in with. Yeah.
And if I just called it X.
You know what? It might be. I'm going to put X. Yeah.
What are you? No, what are
No.
That looks like mushrooms.
Ew, no. I'm
yogurt.
eating
It's like yogurt.
granola, yogurt, and apples.
Oh, so healthy.
Okay.
That last.
I know, y'all talking best. Okay. Now, there are three types of solutions. 2 zeros, 1 0, or no zeros. For the one that says 2 zeros, what do you think why is there 2 zeros?
Because there's 2 points of the x-intercept.
Yes, there's 2 parts where it will cross the x-axis. So it would look something like this, or it could be upside down, it doesn't matter. But there will be 2 points of contact on the x-axis. So there will be 2 x-intercepts. And by the way, this shape, quadratic, is called a parabola. Parabola.
Are we supposed to like
A parable?
Parabola. Parabola. Yes, you do need that. Know that. But that's what that's called. Parabola.
Parabola.
Mm.
Right, like Ebola. I thought you were trying to say something.
It sounds like a virus.
Exactly.
If there's only 1 0, what do you think the graph looks like?
There's only gonna be one X.
One x-intercept. So it's only going to hit the graph one time. So it's just going to go brrrr and go back up. I'll do another one to show it could be like this. Brrrr.
The sound effects are not.
Thank you. Quick question. Does anybody remember from the Desmos activity what this is called if it hits it one time?
I know. I remember it. I don't.
It's called a double root.
No zeros. Would it just be straight?
No. So remember, quadratics are always going to be a parabola. It's always going to look like a parabola.
So it
So-
just doesn't touch it.
It just won't touch it at all. So it'll be like, okay, not touching you.
Or
Okay.
if you're disgusting, never mind.
Okay, it doesn't matter where it is. It's just not hitting. It's not going to hit the x-axis at all. Okay.
And does this one have a fancy name?
I don't know. Not that I know. So this one just has no solution because it doesn't hit the x-axis at all. So at the point where it's hitting the x-axis, what is our y value? Any point on the x-axis, what is the y value? 0. Okay. So we remember anytime we're trying to find our solution, we want our y to be 0. 0 equals ax squared plus bx plus c. We want it equal to 0 in order to find our solutions. So remember that. That's our goal. Now, let's say I had this equation right here. Y equals x squared minus 3x minus 10. We have learned 3 different methods to find the zeros. We have learned 3 different methods to find the zeros. Let's talk about those 3 different methods. First, let's talk about the x method. Why can I use the x method on this one? Why can't I?
Because the X doesn't have like
The number, and you can
Perfect. So the coefficient is a 1 in front of the x squared. So I'm going to put my b value, -3, at the top of my x, and I would all just go ahead and write now. At the top of the x and -10 at the bottom. So I'm trying to figure out what would add to get me -3, but multiply to get me -10. Thank you. Okay, so and then on these, we need to remember that we can write out the factors of 10. So 1 and 10, 2 and 5. If I know it's going to get multiply to get me a negative, then I know one of these has to be negative. And since it's adding to get me a negative, I know the bigger number is negative. So just like Sophia said, it'll be +2 and -5. I'm going to pause. I need you to have these written down because I need you to make sure you understand and have good examples in your notes. So then what are my 2 factors? X plus 2, x minus 5. So these are my factors. But how do I, from the factors, how do I get my zeros?
Don't you? Oh, did you do that? You. No, I am.
So remember, this is y equals x plus 2 times x minus 5. And remember, at the zeros, my y value is always 0. at the x-intercept, the y value is always 0. So from the factors, how do I find my zeros? Look back at your notes from last class.
Oh,
Plug what in?
You add, oh, I see it right here. So no. Oh, you do the, fine, what is it? Like you solve for x.
Okay, I solved for x. I set both of my factors equal to 0. So Alexa, this is what you were saying, but you just weren't saying it. Yes. I set both of my factors equal to 0 because the y value at the x-intercept is 0. So I would solve for each x. So what do I do with the plus 2?
Negative minus.
Subtract 2, so the x equals -2. That does not look like a 2. And what would I do with the -5?
Add it.
Perfect. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And that will give me x equals +5. So here are my 2 zeros. So I did that by factoring and then setting my factors equal to 0 and solving for x. That is one method. Now let's look at our other method, the quadratic formula. Would someone kindly tell me what to write in here? Well, first of all, our A is 1, our B is -3, and our C is -10. All right, Alexa, can you go ahead?
yeah. On the top,
Mhm.
the numerator, it's negative +3
Mhm.
plus or minus the square root of -3 squared minus 4 times 1 times over 2 divided by 1.
Perfect. So all we did here is identify our A, our B, and our C, and we plugged it into our quadratic formula. Now, what I really would like you to do is try to solve it on your own.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. Try to find the answer on your own. On what part? So I had 3 plus 7 over 2, and then I had 3 minus 7 over 2. So 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 over 2 would give me 5.
Wait. Why is the 9 positive?
Because -3 times -3 is +9.
Oh, okay.
Make sure, and that's why I have parentheses around this, because if you don't, it's going to say it's -9. So you need to make sure you have parentheses around this. So 3 plus 7 is 10, divided by 2 is +5. And then 3 minus 7 divided by 2, -2. Okay. So here, when we use the quadratic formula, it gave us the same exact thing here. Okay, so there's 2 different methods we just used to find our zeros. And then obviously the easiest method, just graph it in Desmos and see where it crosses the x-axis. Yes.
Is the 3 like in the start? Is it a negative?
Well, because this one, it is, and the B is -3, but since there's a negative here, the two negatives will make that a positive. Good question. So yes, you can just graph it. Let me just graph it on Desmos. And my two zeros, x equals -2, and x equals +5. So really, honestly, think about this. Should you get any of these problems wrong?
No.
No, because you can just graph it on Desmos and see where it crosses the x-axis. Okay? But before we keep going, any questions? Okay, my goal to finish did not happen, so I really need to finish in about 7 minutes. No. Okay, so this is the last page in the notes right here. We're gonna do 2 practice problems, and then I'm gonna give y'all today's assignment. Okay, so this question asks, what are the solutions to this equation right here? What does solutions mean? The answers, okay, what does that mean? The x-intercepts. Okay, so it's asking for the x-intercepts. But if you look at this, does this look like ax squared plus bx plus c to you? No, we need it to look like that. Yes, we actually did this not too long ago. So I want to see if we can get this. I need to simplify this. What would I do to simplify this? I wonder. Such a great question. We're not, and do not graph this on Desmos. Yes, okay, yes. And hold on real quick, because some of you are like, let me just graph it in Desmos. Well, actually, when your thing is in test mode, you can't just test mode. You can't just write this in there. It won't work like that, okay? So you actually do need to simplify this. So Babe said, let's raise everything to the power 2. So in the parentheses, x minus 7 is being raised to the power 2. What does that mean?
You have to
Okay.
by itself.
Yes. So it'd be x minus 7 times x minus 7. No, we're not distributing yet. We need to PIMDAS. So we need to do what's in parentheses first and then exponent. So it'd be x minus 7 squared. So it'd be x minus 7 times itself, x minus 7.
Are we doing that?
No, go ahead. Tell me what to do.
X squared, and then x, sorry, -7x. Could not tell you. What is it about?
Okay. So that gives me 2 times x squared. What would the -7x and the -7x give me?
-14.
-14x plus 49 equals 32. Okay, so all we did was square this. What's next?
You solve it.
All right.
Oh,
Distribute, beautiful. So I'm gonna distribute this 2 now. So 2 times x squared will give me 2x squared. 2 times -14x will give me -28x. And 2 times 49, 98 equals 32. Wow, that looks so great. Am I done now?
No.
Why not?
Now you have to do it again.
To work out.
But hold on. Does it look like this yet? All the way?
No.
Okay, here's the question. Do we want
I
it?
know what to do. You the subtract 32.
Beautiful. Yes. We don't want it equal to anything but 0 because we want to find the solutions. So we got to get rid of this 32 on this side. So Robert beautifully just told me subtract 32. So that will give me 2x squared minus 28x plus 66 equals 0. Now you're going to be mad at me, but I don't care. On today's assignment, you are not allowed to use the Desmos for the graphing at all. You'll have to do everything by hand. So either you can factor or you can use the quadratic formula. Either one, you have to use one of those two methods.
Here's the-
I know.
I think I'm gonna use that.
What's the difference? I use the factors because I'm the
Now, I'm gonna show y'all something that some of you are like, I don't understand what you just did, and don't worry about that. Some of you are like, oh yes, I'm gonna use that. Here's my question. Look at the coefficients here. 2, 28, 66. What are all of those divisible by?
2.
2. So I'm gonna take 2 out of here. I'm gonna divide all these by 2. So 2 times what will give me 2x squared?
Yeah.
X squared, right?
Okay.
If I divide this by 2, be 14, right? So minus 14x. If I divide this by 2, 33
30.
equals 0. So, question, if I covered up my 2 right here, what method could I use
The X
now?
sign.
The X method, and that's exactly what I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Anytime you can factor out a number, you can just go ahead and divide everything by that number and to make it a simpler thing. So now I want to figure out what adds to give me negative 14, but multiplies to give me 33. And if I write out the factors of 33, 1 and 33, 11 and 3, right? Well, that's my answer. It'd be negative 11, negative 3, because it's adding to give me a negative, but multiplying to give me a positive. So negative 3 and negative 11. So my two factors are x minus 3, x minus 11. So how do I find my zeros from my factors?
You find X, so 0.
Be the funny to find the solution. So x minus 3 equals 0, and x minus 11 equals 0.
You just
I
turn
know,
to the
that's a
opposite.
lot.
Don't you just turn to the opposite?
It will be opposite, because I'm going to add 3 to both sides.
To the 2 that you
So because since you factored it out, it's like if I don't know how to explain this. It's because like you can divide. Okay, if I divided both sides by 2, what is 0 divided by 2? 0 still. So it's like the 2 just kind of just vanished and went away. It did not change my equation though.
Oh, it's just simple.
Yes. Yes. So my answer would be x equals positive 3 and x equals positive 11. So my answer here would be C. Now look at this. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. Now, don't worry. I'm going to be here helping you on your actual assignment. Okay, but I want to actually get started on the actual assignment pretty soon.
So you don't have to do the second one.
Okay, fine. We don't have to do the second one.
Yay!
No, there's no solution. There's no solution.
Thank you, baby. Okay, so go ahead and go to Canvas and go to the assignment.